Does your mother hate you and you fell off of a building and you wet your bed at a late age? You might be a serial killer. Or just really unfortunate. I'm so sorry. You got your Albert Fishes, you got your Eileen Warnoses, your Son of Sams and your Richard Ramirez's. They're all different, but they're all kind of the same in a small, weird way. These are the top 5 signs of a serial killer. We've been lucky enough to study about these serial killers and to actually have conversations with them, read their autobiographies, and understand why they are who they are. That's why I find this interesting, by the way. I'm not fascinated by serial killers because I think that what they're doing is honorable. I don't. I'm just fascinated by their brain. Number 5, bedwetting. When you, not you, just like collective you, wet the bed past the age of 5, it's called urinesis. I don't know. Urinesis, which basically just means that you have a hard time controlling your bladder and you're supposed to be able to like wake yourself up and go to bed. I mean, pee. Don't pee in bed. Bedwetting itself has been discredited as a direct link to later violent tendencies, but it is seen as a sort of catalyst. Some studies speculate that bedwetting into later adolescence is related to arson and animal cruelty in some ways. There's a staggering study that says over 57% of serial killers were bedwetters into early to late adolescence. Bunch of pee-pee boys. I'm sorry if you wet the bed and that was rude to you, but pee-pee boys is kind of cute. As we'll see with most of the items on this list, it's all about the lack of control and channeling the frustration that one feels from extinguishing that control. If somebody wets the bed and they don't have the control over it, they will focus that anger and energy into something more destructive, something that they have control over, like fire. Number 4, harm to animals. Like we talked about in the bedwetting section, when somebody feels a lack of control, they will take it out on things smaller than them, something that they can have power over, like a small little bunny, like a little baby animal, like a cute little fur boy. It's kind of a classic serial killer trope. It's like how people say that weed is a gateway drug. Harming animals is a gateway drug. I'm not a fan of hunting, but it's different. It's considered sport. But when you find a stray cat on the street and disembowel it, that's not hunting, that's butchering. Here's the thing though, when I was a kid growing up in Texas, there were toads everywhere and they were gross and they would make your dogs go crazy. And so we would dissect them, like as like a cool, you know, where's the heart? But there was like almost no blood involved. But I'm not a serial killer, so that's what I'm saying. Number 3, dropped on head. Damage to the limbic brain, hypothalamus, and temporal lobe may cause spontaneous aggressive behavior. So the interesting thing about these parts of your brain is that they're directly linked to your hormones and emotions and motivations. What that means is that if they're damaged or segregated from any other part of the brain for any reason, then you might find somebody who will murder a small animal for sexual satisfaction. 70% of serial killers have experienced head trauma in adolescence, which is a crazy amount. Some researchers believe that this disconnection in the brain happens at birth, which I will talk about later. Number 2, relationship with mom. Time and time again, we see this deadly association between womb and tomb. Serial murderers are frequently found to have an unnatural or unusual relationship with their mother. Is a factual sentence and also a quote from Stephen Edgar's book, Killers Among Us. Thank you for the words, Stephen. I can hear my mom now say, oh yeah, because everything's our fault. And hi, I love you, mom, more than literally anything. But unfortunately, yeah, that's true. We literally came from the inside of you. Believe it or not, you have a pretty strong impact in our life and decisions. Here are some examples of some bad moms, not starring Mila Kunis. Charles Manson's mom reportedly sold him for a pitcher of beer. Eileen Wuornos was dumped by her mother at age 4 and sent to her sexually abusive grandparents' house. Mary Bell's mother sold her as a prostitute at age 10. David Berkowitz, or the Son of Sam's mother, demanded perfection from him and lied to him about his birth mom until the day she died. I could go on for a really long time. The main through line with all of these stories is repression and helplessness. In a lot of cases, people lean on their mothers as an emotional support system, somebody who's predetermined to have your back. But what about when that closeness is exploited? Ed Gein, that's what. Ed Gein's mother was relentlessly religious and beat it over his head every single day to the point of isolation where he was not allowed to speak with anybody. And it sounds like I'm being melodramatic, but I'm not. He literally didn't leave the house until she died. He worshipped her, but that's only because he was conditioned to believe that she was the only thing in his life that wasn't actively trying to kill him. After her death, Ed finally felt free to be himself. Unfortunately, his true spirit was that of somebody who wears women's skin. Number 1, sometimes people are just bad. After Ted Bundy's execution, his brain was removed for autopsy, and there were no signs of injury or abnormality in any way. What does this mean? It means that sometimes people are just bad. But what's so interesting about all this is that it's all up for speculation. The idea of the serial killer is relatively new. It's almost beyond human capacity to imagine somebody with such little regard for humanity. But they exist. You can get dropped on your head. I got dropped on my head when I was a kid. I wet the bed. So what I'm saying is, we'll never know what a serial killer is. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Subscribe to Snarled, turn on the bell for notifications, and I'll see you later. Dink, boop, boop.